This is the 21st episode of the WWJ Industry Connected Podcast, a monthly podcast devoted to the groundwater industry produced by the National Groundwater Association. I'm your host, Mike Price, and today we're joined by Eric Macias of Lorenz U.S. Corporation. We discuss his 2025 NGWA presidency, handing the gavel to 2026 President Seth Kellogg, Groundwater Week 2025 this December, and more. And we welcome to the podcast NGWA President Eric Macias. Good morning, Eric. How are you this morning?
Morning, Mike. Doing excellent. Appreciate you having me.
You bet. Well, we want to have you on to talk about your presidency in 2025 as we're making the final turn into the final stretch here. You're the first manufacturer member from the section to serve as president, seventh from the state of Texas to serve as NGWA president, and you're the chief operating officer of Lorenz U.S. Corporation in Slayton, Texas. How's the year been for you?
It's been great. Yeah, we've had a great time working with our fellow board members and the staff at NGWA. It's been a fast year for sure. We're already almost to October, so it sneaks up on you quick. But speaking with other presidents, they kind of gave me a forewarning that a year was a very short time and didn't have much time to get things done. So yeah, I wasn't without warning, let's put it that way. But business has been great. No complaints there. Nice growth for the company, and nice growth with new team members to help us capitalize on that growth. So yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, not a marathon, but a sprint for the presidency, right?
All right.
Certainly have been that for you. So yeah. You stated back when you became president that you had three goals, three objectives for the sprint of the year: complete NGWA Business Pro, the online accounting management software system, improve and build out NGWA University, and explore and implement a strategy which allows the groundwater industry to be recognized as a meaningful place to work and attract new talent. So Absolutely. I'd like to find out from you how those three objectives have gone this year.
Yeah, sure. Well, so we'll start with Business Pro. The great news is that that software has hit the market, and I don't have the latest numbers from Terry as far as how many users we have, but it was well over 100 different users on it on our last board report. So we've completed that software and built it out to the extent that we wanted to. Part of developing software is that it can never do every single functionality and the customization requests that you're going to get from the market. And so really it was just making sure that we had a confidence in the product that we had available, that it covered, 80-90% of the demand of our membership. That would find it useful to implement in their business and help them increase their profitability and be able to better manage their, quotation, sales, inventory, billing processes. And based on the user feedback that I've received and been at these different trade shows where we've got contractors that are using it or interested in using it, talking to the NGWA Business Pro team, we've accomplished those goals. So now it's just about growing the user base and getting more of our contractors exposed to it and seeing the value in that software and how they can implement it into their business to help them be more successful on the back end. So I think we've accomplished that, and I think there's a good path forward to smartly manage our investment into that and to have a process of decide what challenges we want to take on as we continually get customization requests as different users are exposed to it. So I think we're on a very good path there. I'm very happy with that one for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you said, the feedback has been wide open with folks in the customization of Business Pro, and that's going to continue. But like you said, to try to be efficient as possible with those requests. And a little plug for Groundwater Week 2025. There's going to be a learning session on the trade show floor at the Business Pro booth. So
excellent.
Folks who are interested or
attendees need to check out because the we use software in our business for our inventory accounting, all of our processes, and it just allows you to do more with less people. And it also, puts checks and balances in place to make sure that, your profitability is there and that your outgoing and incoming payments, and it just gives that full transparency to better manage your business. So I think it's definitely one of the best topics that the industry attendees to the groundwater show should definitely check out.
Yep. Okay. And number two on the list, building out NGWA University, the online training modules, learning session modules. Where do we stand there?
Yeah, so we had some challenges previously, prior to me coming into this role, where our partner that was handling the module build out uh, just really wasn't giving us what we needed. Our membership was giving us feedback as to what they'd like to see for modules and the development time for the modules, and we just weren't pleased with that vendor in that partnership. It just wasn't going the way we wanted it to. So we had to do a reset and recognize where the problem was, understand, why we're having these issues. And so part of my presidency, we've dealt with that. We've done that reset. And we've realized that there are other vendors out there that can more quickly, effectively develop the modules so that we could continue forward with building out NGWAU, to have the modules that our membership wants and needs for training. And so that's what we've done. We've got a couple new modules coming out focused on the drilling contractors, ProSonic module that is on schedule to potentially be released for by Groundwater Week. And then also a module for the scientists and engineers. I believe the first one that they've completed over there is the ethics for the scientists and engineers training module. So those things are rolling along. We found two great vendors that are able to create nice content, valuable content that helps facilitate a pathway forward to continue to add modules and actually be able to execute them and get them done in a timely fashion versus it taking, multiple years to make one module. At that speed, would have taken quite a while to build things out. So I think we're on a great path forward, where our hands are not, tied behind our back to be able to innovate and to react quickly to the market demand of educational modules. Um, I think as we roll forward, we've helped the scientists and engineers with a module. We've helped the contractors with their drilling basics and other modules that they've requested. And now what we'd like to see on the next module would be on the pump installer side. And so we're going to be polling the membership as far as for some module needs and understand, what the membership is wanting for modules, what's most important to them, where they see the biggest value in training. And I think electrical training on the pump installer side has been something that's been voiced. So we're going to explore that a little more, make sure that's the top demand, and then hopefully have a module for the pump contractors coming out next year.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Yeah, with your ear to the ground in the solar pump market, you're privy to, the biggest needs from the training
Sure.
standpoint. So you've voiced that over last year, I recall at the show. So it's great that that's going to get implemented around the
Yeah, and it's,
program.
of course, collaborating with our other board members that are suppliers and manufacturers, and listen to the contractors what they're asking for training. And so that's important, is doing things that are of value to our membership, and that should be our driver moving forward.
Yep. Well, and then that just naturally leads into the workforce development strategy and trying to look at having the industry, helping the industry be as attractive as possible to recruit, hire, and train
Absolutely.
the next generation.
Yeah, and that's a task that's kind of like, the old saying of how do you eat an elephant? And that's one piece at a time, right?
Yeah.
And uh, workforce development is a very broad description. And so in the beginning, we really just had to come back in and understand what workforce development meant to our board and where the vision was. And we really needed to have a clear definition of workforce development. and so that we could define the challenges that we want to take on, um, and then be able to start one piece at a time, putting strategies and tools and things in place to be able to solve those challenges and provide some results, some meaningful results that were hopefully measurable as well. So, um, for workforce development, as you mentioned, Mike, a big component of that is the educational side of how do we provide education to the membership to continue to advance their careers and continue to give them education so that we're learning something, every time we have an event such as Groundwater Week, or being able to get on NGWA University during those slower times or after hours to be able to continue to advance their career. So we've got those things in place, and that was a key component of it, as you mentioned. And I believe that's something that NGWA has always done very good, and always been a big draw to the Groundwater Week, is the education, that content and sessions that are put on. I think that's always been a really good strength, and that's something that the staff, input in workforce development was also critical on. That, we are very good at those things. It was just more about, let's create a place where some feedback is, so we're developing the right content, and not just appeasing one section or the other, and just trying to, we're all better together, is the saying, right?
Right.
Strong. So that's kind of been the idea behind the module development and future roadmap out for what content we need to develop. And then we've also said, okay, a key component of workforce development is retention. If we can't retain our team members that are joining our industry, and we're losing them as fast as we gain them, then we're spinning our wheels. So that was where the board made a decision that we wanted to do a compensation survey, that we made sure that our industry was on par with paying with other trades such as plumbers or electricians, for example. That way we could, or HVAC, let's say, we would understand that if we were paying a similar type trade industry, that we wouldn't be losing after we train these people, bringing them in, showing them how to do plumbing, showing them how to do our electrical, or running rigs or drilling wells, that, all of a sudden we lose them to another industry. So that was kind of the baseline to start with. And then also some of the sessions that we had around Groundwater Week last year were kind of just brainstorming sessions, where we had some folks, some different contractors, staff that came in and said, okay, this is what we do to retain employees. Just talking about simple things about how, they made sure that they had a date night with their wife, that, you get busy, and,
Mhm.
all of a sudden you realize it's been 3 months that you did that. And so just things like that, as we listen and learn from each other, I think are a good way to help retention. There's nothing that necessarily the groundwater association can do to make it where the membership companies retain employees, but we can provide a platform for ideas sharing, that and successful practices that one business has implemented, and they're never going to apply just across the board as a uniform package, but it helps at least facilitate that thought. You don't always have to reinvent the wheel. Somebody else has already made one. It's just about, maybe that wheel fits in your business, maybe it doesn't. So from the retention side of things, that's where we're at. Is
Okay.
just basically being more of a platform and having open idea sharing to be able to communicate out to the rest of the membership.
Yeah. No, I love that. Getting other people's input on what works for them and how that could be possibly applicable to their own business and the work-life balance. There's just so much that factors into,
Absolutely.
like you said, this workforce development subject.
Yeah, and then our other side was the recruitment. So that was the other key pillar. So we had, education, retention, recruitment, and our recruitment side of things. Um, we have let's say, a limited budget. We're not the oil and gas industry where we can just go, plaster ads and videos across the country on several different media platforms. So we have to have a very targeted approach, and be able to spend our dollars wisely in order to get the best return on those dollars. Uh, and so the recruitment side of things is we've got to start somewhere to reach out to new people outside of the industry, that to show them that our industry is a rewarding career, that, if you're doing just something for money in life, um, it's hard to love it. It's hard to be passionate about it. So that's really not our message, is to go out there and say, you can make all this money in the groundwater industry. While there's good money to be made, that shouldn't be our key driving message. Our key driving message is that we have a meaningful career that is helping people to get water that is required for the sustaining life, whether it's for people, animal, or crops. And so that's really the key driving message that we're looking at. And you know the speaking about younger people in our company anyway, they're looking for something that's fulfilling, right? They're not just getting that paycheck at the end of the day. They're looking at to be able to say, I did something good, I helped my fellow man, um, and I added value, and so I feel more valuable as a person. And that's the message that we're after. And so part of the initiative that we're working on is to be able to, we kind of have to educate the market a little bit about what groundwater is and all the different careers that are possible, because it's such a wide array of careers that we could have, from the scientist and engineering side of things, the manufacturing side, the contractor side, and then of course the supplier side. There's just all kinds of opportunities that fits a really broad range of people. And so we've got to show that. And we found a company that is done that for other industries. And they are working on the first videos for us right now. And we're hoping that we'll have some of those videos ready to show at Groundwater Week. And those videos will be able to be used across multiple platforms. Whether it's from pushing it from the NGWA side, but we need the help of pushing it from other places, such as
Yeah.
social media or the contractors' websites. And we need a multi-angled approach of being able to get that message out to the market. And so that's what we're after in the recruitment side of things. And that one, I would say, just being honest with you, progress is a little slower than you want, but it's a really big challenge. And you have to do it with a limited budget, and you want to get the most for your money. So it just takes a little more time to plan to plan that things out, strategize about it, and then pull the trigger. So, but we're rolling forward on the videos, and that's a good first start. We've got a nice roadmap moving forward of what we want to do there.
That's excellent to hear. Yeah, it's such an honorable, our industry is such, it offers honorable professions, like you said, from the four membership sections. And yeah, we need to get the word out to the
Absolutely.
to the to the broad population to
Yeah,
for
and the other thing I'd like to say, Mike, is we can't, there's not an easy button. Okay. Just because we go make these videos, that doesn't mean that the problem's solved for the contractor, for the manufacturer, for the distributor, for the scientists, engineers. That's a pipe dream that won't ever happen. And but what it does is having a proactive approach to recruitment, that we're enabling the membership with different tools and different ideas, different strategies. It's up to the individual, and it always will be, right? That's what it's going to come down to. If a company is looking for somebody to hire, and they're not having proactive practices in place to actually recruit people and bring people into the business, then we can do everything that we want to do, but it's never going to work for them. They're never going to be able to find somebody to come in. Or if they have a negative attitude that says, oh, this younger generation, they don't know how to work and this, that, and the other, that's the total wrong attitude. It's just about how to get people to engage and figure out what their drivers are that are going to motivate them to come in and add value to your company by working hard and working smart, and they're going to help add value, and that in turn creates revenue and profit opportunities. So um, we have to put the responsibility on ourselves.
Mhm.
Um, and we can't just hit that easy button and say a video is going to solve it. We just have to be honest with each other.
Yep. Yep. And you attended, switching gears now, looking back in 2024, that was your first fly-in, if I recall. Yeah. Um, and you've gotten your experience now with the second one here in 2025. So, from an advocacy standpoint and our industry, what have you gained from those two fly-ins, and what would be your pitch to someone who has never been to one?
Well, yeah, the first one that I went to was very poorly attended. from the groundwater industry. We had just a handful of people there. Um, and I can say, Mike, that year we met with um, some good regulators, head of the USDA, head of the EPA, things like that, that were productive and getting to talk to the right people. It's not just the lawmakers that we need to speak to. They're not the ones that are actually, you know, boots on the ground necessarily. They're more up at a 50,000 foot level view, right? So I learned that about it, that it wasn't just about talking to just, you know, the congressman or the, you know, senator, that's it goes down layers deeper than that. I would say one thing I learned, and then that it takes follow up. You can't just go to Washington that one time a year and say hi, because guess what? There's, you know, 50 other people behind you in line that's doing the same thing, advocating for their industry or their cause. And so, you know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, if you will. And the guy, just like sales, if you only call on a customer one time, you know, you got to have the follow through. And so it applies in the same way, that when you get home and having those relationships with the local politicians, as well as going and seeing, you know, your senator or House of Representative people when they're actually at home. It seems like they, you know, in Washington, again, they've got a busy schedule and a lot of things going on when they're there. So it's almost a better time. You're going to get maybe more accomplished when you go see them when they're at home in their normal office. So I'd say those were a couple of things. It's still important to go to Washington because just of the concentration of all of the different levels that are involved. You get to kind of hit them in one shot if you plan things properly. Um, so it's just kind of a multi-angled approach that takes a lot of coordination, and the NGWA is doing a great job in facilitating that and adjusting the approach as everyone's collectively learned together. Um, you know, so we're making good progress there at this 2025 fly-in. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but we probably had triple or quadruple, which, you know, we had a much better turnout to be able to spread across lots of different uh, people to contact and get in front of. So
Yep.
I think we're moving in the right direction, and I believe with Seth coming in, she's head of government affairs, as the incoming president is traditionally.
Yep.
So I think she's got a good hold on things there, good experience, and I think she will continue to push that ball forward moving into 2026.
Yeah. Yeah. Seth Kellogg, our 2026 president, the first female to serve as president for NGWA. You've got to know her a little bit, you know, at the fly-ins and at Groundwater Week last year. What can you share? What do you look forward to passing the gavel off to her this December?
Yeah, so Seth definitely brings, you know, from the scientists and engineering section, she brings a different viewpoint just from being in that section alone, very analytical approach to type things, as well as just great leadership, you know, as a leader in her company and the industry on that section. You know, she didn't get there by accident. So her leadership skills are also very well, where she's able to work with a broad range of people, from, you know, contractors, manufacturers, suppliers, and scientists and engineers, and keep the group cohesive, and you know, keep the conversation about the different challenges that we face as a board, as far as challenges we've taken on to move it forward. So she's always been very involved in those processes, in those discussions. She always has great feedback, and she has a different viewpoint. You know, not only from her career, but also, as you said, first female coming in, she has a different viewpoint on things. Um, and so I think that gives our board a lot of strength moving forward. Is just to have that leadership role with that different perspective, and I think, you know, hopefully it sets the standard, and we have more female involvement in the association,
Yep.
and it'll push that forward so we have more diversity involved there. Because, you know, I can tell you from my personal life of my wife, and her being involved in our business as well, is that you know, her perspective is valued every day, and she's good at things that I'm not good at, and you know, us playing those strengths off each other, it just makes a great team, and that's what I think we have to look forward to in our association is just bringing that same dynamic into it,
Yeah,
but making sure that we know that the women of our industry we want them to be involved. We want them to be into leadership roles and to come in and be as active as they can.
absolutely. Yeah. What would be your advice for Seth as she takes reins of the presidency? It's the sprint, like you said.
Right. I think that's probably the number one thing is I think that's the best advice I could say is just it's a very short period of time, so you need to be focused and pick your challenges that you're going to take on because there's definitely a whole lot of them, and when you have a short timeline, you pick too many, then you won't be having a good phone call with Mike when he's asking you to review your presidency at the end of October.
Yeah, in the blink of an eye, Groundwater Week is going to be here. So your company, Lorenz, booth number 2519.
Yeah,
Yeah, looking forward to the show. We've already got word that it's a sold out exhibit hall,
yeah.
nearly 300 exhibitors, nearly 80,000 square feet of exhibit space. But that's all pending. But that's yeah, unofficial numbers. But what are you looking forward to at your booth to show the industry?
So yeah, the numbers are great. We need the attendance now, so we need our contractors, scientists, and engineers to be able to set the time aside to come. So I'd encourage them to look at the educational sessions that are on there and see the value that's there to come and participate in that. And also just the networking opportunities, the friends and contacts that you're going to make that are going to introduce you to different business opportunities that that's invaluable. It's hard to quantify it, but the amount of business you gain just by that networking opportunity is tangible. Um, as far as our own personal booth, at our booth this year, we're going to be displaying our new S1 product, is what we call it, and it stands S as simple. So we have a new product to where it's a plug and play designed, where we can basically plug in the pre-wired motor lead into the bottom of the controller, and you're off pumping water. Plug in your solar panels into a pre-wired electrical connection for the solar panels, and basically we've made it as easy as possible, which helps the contractors be more efficient, helps their personnel have a lower edge, a lower training level of having to get in and control and wire things up, sensors and all these type things, and sometimes things that they might not use. Our product in the past has been one that's been a complete solution that would do everything that you ever needed it to do: flow meters, pressure sensors, level sensors. But that introduces a little bit of layer of complexity for those guys that just want something open discharge, nothing fancy. So we've listened to our customers and our distributors and said, okay, let's make a product that is as plug and play, as simple as possible. And that's what we'll be pushing big on our booth, is showing that message of simplicity. So we would encourage them to come check it out. We've got another big surprise at the booth that is going to be really fun. Um,
Hmm,
I don't want to give it
can't
away,
say.
um,
Yeah.
but let's just say that I had to check with the NGWA show staff and make sure we weren't breaking any rules or anything, because it should be a lot of fun. So definitely have to come check out the booth and come see what I'm talking about. So
Yes, booth 2519. And November 7th is our early bird reg deadline to maximize, to cash in on the savings for registration. So be sure to do that. Yeah, the innovation at the show just continues year in and year out. I'm just amazed at companies doing their homework, like you said, taking the customer feedback,
yeah,
considering it, seeing where it can be applied, and then they're off and away at getting a product out there and by December for the industry to see. It's such a cool part of our industry that they are never satisfied.
yeah, yeah, that's always a place to come see the latest and greatest, is what's getting announced into the marketplace. So yeah, definitely looking forward to it. It ought to be good. So everyone's hoping for good weather, and that's but it's going to be a good show. So
December 9th through the 11th in New Orleans. Yep. November 7th, Reg, early bird Reg. So, um, Is there anything else, Eric, that you want to share?
Yeah, I think we've covered it all.
Well, thank you for you said back in 2024, it's a leap of faith to join a board and serve, and that whether it's on the national level, state level, giving back to the industry is vital, and you've done that and been able to juggle, your job as well as your association involvement, and you've seen others do that in your life, and you now have done that. So how's that make you feel to be able to have said you've accomplished it, and um, you know encourage others to consider it?
Yeah, well, I'd say first off, I wouldn't say that it's accomplished, right? The job's never done.
Yeah.
But uh, it helps you expand and know that I would say the thing that it does for you is help you figure out how you're going to get it done because you're either going to sink or swim, right? So just time management and being able to delegate some different things, within our own organization or throughout the board. So yeah, just I think that's a result of is it increases that skill set for you. But yeah, I think it's a great feeling. Um, you know, and the key message is that what we're doing is for the membership, to better the industry, and I think it's definitely rewarding, but I don't think that it's not why you're looking for it to get the pat on the back or anything like that. You're just doing it to do your part, because there's other people that have been ahead of you that have been doing the same good work, the same dedication of their time, and it's just inspiring to see that. And so it's nice to be able to be in that same line of people, knowing that you carried your bucket of water for the day, right?
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, well said. You said in the profile, well, it was last year, that you're here for the good of the industry, and that was your marching orders as president. And well, thank you for taking the time to do it and step up and serve in this
appreciate that.
way.
Absolutely, it's an honor to do it, and definitely looking forward to wearing the other colored jacket and being in the past president's role next year and continuing to contribute and still being involved in the industry. So it's a great industry, and lots of great friends and good people is what's kept me around, and I don't see that changing. So
Excellent. Well, look forward to seeing you in December at Groundwater Week.
yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely.
Thanks for watching and listening to the WWJ Industry Connected podcast. We'll be back next month with a brand new episode, so be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the major platforms, so it will be easy to find us. And visit waterwelljournal.com for the latest expert columns, feature articles, videos, and news covering the groundwater industry. So one more time for Eric and I, thank you for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.